people, and welcome to Real Chicks Rock Presents Real Discussions. I am your host, Michelle Dawes Bird, and as always, I'm super excited to be here with you. Man, it is a beautiful day in the neighborhood of Atlanta. We wouldn't want to be anywhere else at the moment but Atlanta, I'm telling you. Listen, I want to thank all the new listeners that are joining us today. My mic is like black in the shirt. I need to get that right. We need to get on this paraphernalia. Yeah, because we showing brands today. Yes, I want to thank all the new listeners today. Let me give you a little bit of background about what Real Chicks Rock is all about. We're all about creatively collaborating and connecting to raise awareness regarding issues that impact us women. Yeah, and we do it by way of community service engagement, public speaking, mentoring, and the arts. We've been doing this particular platform, the podcasting, before we knew what it was, Bem, since April 2016. We got a little something. He already know what it is, because when he came in here, he saw something, so you know how we moving in here in the background. So today is no different, because you know what? We always want to talk about the issues, but we always want to talk about people that are about community. Yeah, we like those type of people as well. And my guest today is no different. Today's topic is Atlanta influences everything. I got the co-founder, co-creator here, Bem Joiner. Hey, Bem, what's going on?
What up? Good to be here.
Good to have you, my brother. Good to have you. We got a lot to talk about. Let's dig right in. Sure. So listen, you are from where? Tell the people where you're from, Bem.
Southwest Atlanta, Zone 4, West End to be exact.
A lot of changes going on in the West End, but we'll leave it right. We'll leave it right there for right now. So, being from Atlanta, you've seen all the changes. Talk to us a little bit about being a kid growing up here in Atlanta. What was it like for you? And tell me a little bit about the music you listened to during that time.
So set the context with my age. I'm 44. I was born in December 1978. So especially with the most recent news of the city doing the missing and murdered dedication.
Yes.
Like my age group was right up under the group that was affected. So there were some remnants of not going outside or you know, not being able to do certain things, but not really. So I feel like my age group is like the group that's being born after COVID, where you kind of got the mask but not really. So that's how it was with I guess black parents being protective in Atlanta, but overall when you, I guess supposedly if Wayne Williams is the guy, you quell the child murders, then it allows the black mayor and Maynard Jackson to start doing more of his work, more of his magic that made Atlanta.
Okay.
And so I went to middle school with his youngest daughter, Valerie Jackson.
Okay.
So it's like the children are like on a swim team with Shirley Franklin's youngest daughter. So it's like the youngest children of the elders or the movement, either the youngest children or the grandchildren or older nephew of who you would consider to be the movement politically and business in Atlanta. And so Atlanta was so small that you could just end up in school with these people or going to summer camp with these people. And so up until like 91, I had a barber in the West End. He went by Headliner, and he said, yo, tell your mom to come in today. I need to tell her I'm going to help you find another barber. I'm moving to New York.
Okay.
So he got a record deal in New York. This is like 91. And before you could start to see the remnants of like Another Bad Creation and Crisscross, but not, you know, it's early. And so the music I'm listening to up until that point is everything, I guess, everybody else is listening to urban radio with that one urban radio station. You know, so R&B, heavy dose of R&B, but 90s rock, Tears for Fears type stuff with Luther, with Guy, New Edition, all kind of mixed in. And then the beginning of my 8th grade year, maybe toward the end of 7th grade, I see this video on TV. It says Tennessee, and so I'm thinking that there's this rap group from Tennessee. But then I'm looking, and in the background, I catch a whiff of the DJ, and I'm like, yo, that's my barber.
Yeah.
And he said he was going to New York to get a. So he's in this group, Arrested Development.
Yeah.
And so that was my first instance in being able to connect. Like, I'm always a fan of music.
Yes.
But that was one of my, that with Another Bad Creation was the first instance of being able to connect my hometown to the music I listened to.
I got you.
And then Crisscross, I'm the same age as them. So they were 8th grade at another school when I was in 8th grade. They were 8th grade at Bunch. I was in 8th grade at Sutton. So they kind of, when they got discovered, it kind of set the tone.
Yes.
For like, yo, maybe it's rap. Like, it's not just on TV in New York. Like, maybe, and it kind of went from there. So, and then I'll end that by saying probably the most amazing gift of all. Because, like, 9th grade public school bus, 9th grade is like that gap between 8th and 9th is such a unique growth period of puberty and freedom and understanding, but still you in 9th grade, so you still a freshman, but it's a new experience. You're not at the middle school,
right? And
so that experience came with Outkast's first. So Outkast's first album was the soundtrack to my freshman year of high school. And that's something I talked to my daughter about, who's 17. Yeah. She's kind of ashamed about her freshman year of high school soundtrack, like the state of music per se.
Yeah.
Like, why, so you listen to Outkast and Tupac and Biggie, like in 9th grade, like this is your vibe.
Yes.
And it's like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that was my vibe. That was the music I was on. Oh, and my point in also saying like Tupac and Biggie is I went to a Nas concert when he did the Hip Hop Is Dead, and he said this was years ago, and they were like all these at the Tabernacle, all these New Yorkers were in there, but it was in Atlanta, and they were all like, yo, son, this is New York. It was like taking them back. And they'll like somebody be like, yo, what do you don't you remember this in New York? Something. And I'll be like, nah, I really remember this Illmatic song, Walking Down the Street in the West End. Illmatic takes me to the West End. It doesn't take me to Queens, because I wasn't in Queens when I heard it. I was walking to the train station in the West End.
You know what I mean? So music, I ask you because music, certain songs will put you in certain places in your timeline in your life, and you'll remember distinctive things. So I think it's always kind of important, and you're absolutely right. It is a soundtrack of your life, and so you remember certain things growing up as a kid at that particular instance. Bem, I think what's so interesting about you is that you had an opportunity to go to school with children, right? That their parents or grandparents try to change the narrative for black people, especially in Atlanta, right? So did that do something to you at that point, or how did you feel going to school with them? Or were you just a kid? It didn't really hit you yet?
Yeah, it didn't. I mean, I would be honest, it didn't hit me till later. Like Maynard's. So Shirley Franklin, when I was on the swim team with her daughter, Shirley Franklin wasn't mayor yet.
Yeah,
you know.
I understand.
So she was a figure, and I knew she had something to do with the city and the airport, something.
Right.
But she wasn't mayor yet. And then Maynard's youngest daughter, we were in drama together at Sutton Middle School, and my mom was late picking me up one day, and Maynard, this is right after his last term as mayor, so this is like maybe his first or second year, maybe when Bill Campbell's second year after Maynard's last term. He came to pick his daughter up, and my mom was late, and so he waited with me for like 30 minutes. And I knew, like, I felt like celebrity, like, because I knew who he was. So, you know, there was that feeling. And then there's the on the swim team with Oscar Harris. He built the Fulton County Jail. No, excuse me, the jail that's downtown Atlanta.
Okay.
He built Concourse E, if I'm not mistaken, at the airport, the first World of Coca-Cola, the Fulton County government building. And this is one of the black men that came out of that H.J. Russell.
Yeah.
You know, and Maynard saying, you know, we're going to give these black developers a percentage of these contracts.
Yes.
So my homeboy's dad was one of those people. And so I remember, you know, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air stuff, witnessing that at a young age before the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So it wasn't Bel-Air, it was Cascade, Atlanta. And this black architect made he was like a Frank Lloyd Wright fan, and he built this house in Southwest Atlanta in the style of a Frank Lloyd Wright house.
Yeah.
And it had a pool and a basketball court. So you're talking about 87, maybe 88, like, so, and it's black.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, wow. But it was also, I was so young, it was becoming normalized, even though it wasn't mine. The fact that I had access to it made it feel like it was mine.
Right.
And we weren't in the projects. We were in a house in the West End. And my parents got divorced when I was in the 4th grade. But my parents were civically engaged. And so being civically engaged as a black person in Maynard era Atlanta, a lot of black people, no matter where they were at on the class totem pole, they had bought into the Maynard rhetoric of we're building something. There was this we. So even if you lower, if you show up and tap in, that would net you the proximity to a black person that had means. You know, and they were open to sharing things. So that's, you know, humble beginnings, but had access.
You had access, brother.
Yeah.
You had access. And so I want to move the needle just a little bit and ask, how did Atlanta Influence Everything come about? When was that birthed? How was that birthed?
2015, toward the end of 2015. I have 2 partners now. I had 1 partner then, and he was from Brooklyn, and I met him in 2005. We were both working on Al Gore had a TV network he was trying to launch, and we met working on that campaign.
Right.
And then he brought me on to the Truth anti-tobacco campaign, doing some marketing work. And then we started a company together called Revolutions, and then we changed the name to the Tomorrows, because we thought we were like cool enough that we could sell brands on Tomorrow in Atlanta. Like, so 18 to like 32 multicultural marketing, like how can a vitamin water, when Heinz ketchup went from the regular packet to the one you dip in, like we had street teams out, like,
that's
you know,
up. I like that.
We did shows, like we did Drake's first show. When I say we, it was my partner and I with a collaborative of friends at that time. But we did Drake's first general admission show for $7,500. 2009, did Kendrick's show.
Wow.
In 2011 for $5,000. I had to pick him up from the airport in my mom's car. But this is, and I'm saying that to kind of set the stage for being early adopters.
Yes.
In a market like Atlanta that wasn't LA or New York, but we were early adopters in our market. And in Atlanta, you could start to see Atlanta having an impact little by little, just in the world of culture in some form. And so in 2015, Nike was doing a shoe, 1996, 20th anniversary of the 96 Olympics shoe, and we pitched Nike on an idea for like a scavenger hunt on MARTA and the Beltline, similar to what they had done for the re-release of the Jordan 1 in Chicago. And they said what Jordan was to Chicago, he shifted Chicago. Well, the Olympics shifted
Atlanta.
You know, so we thought we could do this project. They didn't go for it. They said Atlanta wasn't a top tier market. But at the time when they said this, my feelings were hurt being a native.
Yeah.
But at the time, this is what was happening.
Yeah.
Everybody
doing that. Yeah.
And the word it was so many things that were commonplace that you could see floating around. But these are just Atlanta things, but everyone else has adopted them.
Correct.
And so in my frustration of Nike not understanding that, I say, you know, we don't have the bean like Chicago. There are certain things that we don't have infrastructure wise.
Right. Right.
But all I can tell you is we do influence everything. And so I didn't know I said it. I was just in my feelings. The Brooklyn business partner caught that I said it, ran it through his Brooklyn meter. There's one. And he didn't, but he realized he came from Brooklyn, went to Morehouse, never went back to Brooklyn. So he said, damn, could be true. But the problem, I think, of why Nike's not getting it and why you're so frustrated in them not getting it is that Atlanta doesn't tell its story well. So let's own this statement. Let's put Atlanta in. It's post-Detroit versus everybody.
Yeah.
So it came after them. So we were inspired by them, to be real with you.
Right.
It's like a mixture of I Love New York mixed with Detroit versus everybody and Keep Austin Weird. And that, but what was ours? You know, we weren't versus, not at that time.
Right.
So when he said, yo, I think it could be the influence everything. We got to own it, but at first starts, let's throw it on a shirt and let's just see how people react to it. And it kind of we started building the brand once we saw the reaction to the shirt and the hashtag, like, yo, we got something. And then we built the why we needed to do the work. And I was so emotionally tied as a native. I was too in it, and it took the Brooklyn business partner that was living here and never went back home to kind of understand. And I guess I'll end the story by saying, he said, why we need to put it on the shirt, Atlanta needs to do better external storytelling. He said, being from Brooklyn, I can travel around the world. I can go to an igloo in Alaska. I can say, yo, where Brooklyn at? Or is Brooklyn in the house? And somebody going to pop out and be like, yo, you know. And he said, man, Atlanta, people want to know what makes it tick because it's a vibe.
Right.
But Atlanta hasn't done the best job explaining itself. So this could be the first foray into storytelling about why. You know, so yeah.
I'm going to ask you this. Because you're a passionate guy. I had the opportunity of meeting you a few weeks ago at the historical...
Yeah, Atlanta History Center.
Atlanta History
for
Center.
Juneteenth.
Right, for Juneteenth. Do you feel today, based on the story and why Atlanta influences everything was created, do you feel Atlanta has done a better job in telling its story today?
I guess when we say Atlanta, we have to identify like who's in charge of that. So like the business of it on paper would fall to the Atlanta Convention and Visitors Bureau, and like on IG, I think it's like at Discovery Atlanta or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
It's a mixture of them.
Okay.
The Metro Atlanta Chamber. Like their job is to like deal with tourism and brand building.
Yeah.
They internally, I don't think have themselves in-house.
Okay.
But in terms of external communication and at times collaboration with Atlanta influences everything and others, like a Butter, ATL or whatever, to help assist them in what they deem to be the storytelling.
Right.
The fact that they at least are asking for assistance in some forms, that is where there's improvement being made.
Okay.
But like just their internal staff, their staffing, their day-to-day storytelling is still off, because it's a multi-layered, it's a multicultural story that can only be told first through a multicultural, through a native black and a native white, and then a multi-layered black narrative.
Okay.
So you would have to capture these native black stories.
Okay.
But then you would have to also capture the black people that moved here and why, and that would be a part of the story. And then you have the native whites, like my guy David Mitchell. He doesn't mind me saying this. He's maybe 3rd or 4th generation. Mitchell Street downtown is his family.
Wow.
He's over the Atlanta Preservation Society, but he pushes for black ownership, land ownership, and equity.
Yeah.
He trying to get the devil off his family name. The Mitchell family owned slaves in old Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So David, good dude. He trying to,
trying to get the devil.
Yeah, yo, he'll tell you, you know what I mean?
That, bro.
But it is whose Atlanta is it more?
Yeah.
Is it his Atlanta?
Yeah,
or the Lil Jon Atlanta?
Right.
Because Lil Jon has something to say, but and when I say Lil Jon, it could be Lil Jon Roberts or Lil Jon the rapper.
Right.
And Lil Jon the rapper is from Atlanta. Now, I don't know how many generations he's from, but the white guy David Mitchell is 3-4 generations Atlanta. Now, he white. So whose story matters, whose doesn't?
Right.
What story matters more than the other? How does the black transient story, at what point does that matter lined up against a white 2nd generation or whatever? And then you have the Gwinnett with the Asian American with the Indian, and the large Latino base out Clarkston, and they'll tell you that their voices can't even be heard because of the squabble between either black on black, meaning black versus black native versus black transient, or the black versus white. You know, because this is the demographics are not as multicultural as it may seem, and it is aggressively, Atlanta proper is aggressively black and white, and so it doesn't leave space if you don't fit in those two. So it's a hard story to tell, because you would need to be able to weave in everybody's narrative. In New York, the other places do it well. Yeah. But they've been at it longer. Atlanta has to accept that it has become a safe haven for a variety of reasons to a variety of people. Yeah. And how do you tell that story with what you already had going? Yeah,
it's a lot, because we talked offline and we talked when we first met, and when we say black, right? That is such a huge umbrella, because we are in the South, right? But let's pick apart me, right? My lineage does not start in Atlanta. It will start with my son, who was born at Northside Hospital, right? His father is from Atlanta, but we need to go back. Is that always been? Was it Atlanta or was it Noonan, right? So now we're talking about the suburbs or the outer, or as they say, the country part of Atlanta, all right? So that's a thing. But for me, my bloodline, I can go back to Jamaica, the island, the West Indies, right? And my grandmother came, and my mother came when she was 13. And that's a New York story, right? So why come to Atlanta, Michelle? Well, I had a friend that lived here. You know the story. You have a friend that moved here, you come and you visit, and you look around and you say, wow, this is... And I'm talking about, I've been here since 89, bro. I'm like, look, Pan Am I came down on Pan Am. You know what I'm talking about? Like, for 118 on the flight round trip. I'm telling my story. And so I came, it was Pan Am, and I came and I said, wow. Because even though I came from New York, I'm going to keep it a buck. And it's Puerto Ricans and Dominicans and some Cubans, right? And then we got some Africans, and then we got Guyanese, and we got people from Bahamians and Trinidadians and all this. Then we got Polish and Irish, and we got Russian, right? And then we got good old people like you say, who they've been Connecticut or been in New York generations. So it was a different type of diversity, right? But to come to Atlanta and see beautiful black people, I'm talking about people that look like me, look like you, beautiful, the sun, the weather. I was like, wait a minute. Like, what's happening? Wait, you mean to tell me I don't have to deal? I'm talking from a transient perspective now. You mean to tell me I don't have to deal with that type of hustle and bustle? I love my people. I love my family. I love my friends. But it's something about a quality of life, man, that just resonates with me differently. You mean to tell me I can make? I don't even have to make the same amount of money, but I can live the way, hold on now, hold your hat. The way Martin has said, that he said that this is how it would be for black. The way Farrakhan said, the way Malcolm X has said, like all of the black leaders has said, black Negro, this is the life you're supposed to have. You're not supposed to be X'd out of stuff, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, wait a minute here. I can come and live. So that's how most people come. It starts from a visit. We come here, we like, wait a minute. First of all, everybody look like me. They speak, they nice. The temperatures is down. They ain't arrogant. They ain't uptight. Okay, that's a plus. You mean I could take whatever money I had or take the skill? Here's another word. The skill set. The stuff that I learned up top, I can bring here. You mean to tell me that? Because the people in Atlanta, I'm going to keep it 1,000, y'all wasn't moving the way we move up there. Because we trying to make money. We trying to make these ends work. Get off me. Don't step on my white sneakers. I'm going to punch you in the face. Like, respect my sneaker game. Like, don't touch my hat. My brims is a certain thing. Like, what? You mean to tell me I come in here and I can bring it down 1,000? And then y'all look at me because it's like, oh, y'all them people with the hip hop. You came with all that, with the bambada and this and that and the Timbs and the pinstripe. We know that's you, and you ain't even a Yankees fan. We can see it. So yeah, bro.
And when you take that, the admission to a black New Yorker. Yeah. Because my dad is from New Haven.
Come on, bro.
And so when you say, well, that's a Polish neighborhood, I'm like, yo, in Atlanta, I don't even know if black people can identify a Polish versus a Russian. You just white.
Yeah, like you're black and white. Atlanta is black and white.
And with that, with the Dr. King and all the black mayors, the teachings, whether it was said directly or indirectly, was that you got to be 5 times better than the white man.
That is correct.
And so for a native, and Kanye's parents, is that he was born here. Yeah. For a native, it was always like, okay, with the Morehouse respect, but take the white man out. Like somehow, but more from an education, because of those schools, and in Fred Hampton in Chicago, but Detroit, other black city strongholds, Oakland. Yes. What you also would have to, what they were missing was black public sector infiltration. Right. As well as the black post-secondary. If that's what America is built on, the workforce overall and laws, Atlanta was able to establish post-secondary, high level. Yes. And then have people that look like you infiltrate the public sector.
That is correct.
Not just from a mayor standpoint, but his thing, which is what drew my parents, dad from Connecticut, mom from Columbus, Georgia, met at the Atlanta University School of Social Work, because Maynard say, well, it's not enough just to be a black mayor. If my people right now, if we using government benefits, and the person, the social worker, the person over it, if they are going in the home and they have to do an assessment. A lot of times, these white people they don't understand us. So at least somebody who come in and do an assessment of a black home, the social worker is a black person.
Right.
So Maynard knew that the public service workers that dealt with would have to also be black as well, which that's how it kind of it got us. That's how the blackness kind of set in and so you can all the multicultural. It's a gift and a curse because, and I guess I'll end that by saying, in terms of you coming down here and what you brought, our focus from my generation, I claim tail end of Gen X Atlanta.
Okay.
We were focused on dominating the white man at their own game in this city, never knowing that energy and attraction would attract a bunch of people who looked like me, who had a different hustle, moved faster, and brought that hustle down here. So we focused on the white man, and then next thing you know, we are competing for jobs and things with people who look like us, which that was not, it's not, years later you learn it's not an either or, it's a yes and for our people. But for a minute, the native versus the transient, it's like, yo, you taking our jobs the way somebody in Ukraine or Russia might say, oh, well, this, or a Jewish and a Palestinian person, they taking our jobs. We doing that, but it's an African American on African American.
It is. Because I'm going to tell it to you listen, if I got the ball and I could come through the paint, I'm going to come through the paint. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm going to score. And so the energy, and it's no diss. It's no diss because I'm still here. You know what I mean? And a lot of great things has happened to me and in my life. I'm going to keep it a buck. I don't think I would be able to do what I'm doing today if I had stayed in New York. So Atlanta for me, has always been a space where it created opportunity. But I think that the black transient person might have been able to see the opportunity a little bit more clearer than the person that was already on the block. Real talk, because we didn't have it there. We had to create it. So if I could take that same hustle and drive and initiative and just Jamaican, multitasking, not afraid to work, and come down here and down here, can I not live better?
That's real.
And then tell people, and then give people the instructions on how. So they say, well, Michelle, how you do it? Let me tell you. I had the degree. I went to DeVry. I didn't even go to an HBCU. Wasn't even checking for like that quadrant up there at that time. Let me tell the age. I'm 56. So at that time, when you got out of public school in New York, you was good with a city job. And going to college was that extra that most people's parents didn't even know how to fill out the applications or talk to the people to get you in college. So if you want to do college, it was kind of like you on your own on that. I love you. You got to kind of figure that out because we don't know. You know, our job is really to get you through high school. And don't you come in here pregnant. And and the boys, don't you make nobody pregnant. Right? So other than that, New York, 5 boroughs, get a job. The post office is always hiring. MTA is looking for conductors or people to open and close the doors, right? City jobs, get you a city job. But some of us decided to go to college, and through that, you learn different things and you get these skill sets. And I just took that and came down here and was like, okay. And I said to myself at my desk, at any job, repeatedly, if y'all don't want it, I'm going to get it. I said it. No diss to nobody. Because people was like, I don't care. They was scratching. And they was doing this, whatever. Y'all, shorty, what's up? They was doing okay, I see you. What's up, black? What's up, my man? Yo, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? Like, okay, I was making the moves because I came from the projects. Roach infested. And there's something inside of you as a black person that says, as you hold on to the bars on the window, because they put bars on the window so people won't jump out and think they can fly. I'm on the 6th floor. The building is 14 stories. That you say, when I get out of here, I'm not coming back. There has to be a better life. So I think that there are portions and pockets of people that are black, whether you're here in Atlanta or abroad, that say, I want something different. And when I get it for me, I'm going to make sure my kids get it and their kids get it, because there are, I'm going to talk to you, there's generational cycles and curses that we trying to kill. Not just the white, cool white brothers that's like, yo, my great, great, great grand had slaves. We got some stuff in us that we trying to work out. The spirit of poverty is on us too heavy. And now we got poverty and a little bit of ignorance. And then somebody say, oh, you entitled to 40 acres and a mule. So are we really trying to take the gifts that came from us from the Most High? Let's take it up there. Because we've created peanut butter, the stoplight, the this, the that. We are innovators. What is it about us that has stopped us and said this is enough? It's not.
It's not.
It's not enough. And guess what? Nobody owes us nothing. As we continue to see in the people that are in office, from the White House to local levels, we still have to work 5 times more. And as a black woman, I'm really feeling it. I'm gonna keep it 1,000, because when I work in corporate America, which I still do, I'm still the lowest paid person. It's white male, white female, black male, then it's me. And I'm doing the work of all of them just to keep a job. And then I'm a single mom. I'm divorced, right? My ex-husband is still in my son's life, but I am the primary person. I take my son to school, I pick him up, There are no time for excuses. See what I'm saying? So the story, what is our story that we need to be saying today as Atlanta influences everything? Is it we are the people that we have done all of these magnificent things and we hold a torch for that? Are we the people that are cutting edge in technology? What should the story be today? What is it that we're trying to say? Because I know we more than the t-shirts, we more than the hashtag. What is it that our people are missing that we as a collective community can try to tell the story better together? My man, he like it.
So,
yes, sir.
So it's crazy. The relationship between Atlanta and New York is a
it's beautiful.
It's a unique one.
It's beautiful.
And when the Brooklyn partners wheels were turning, said we're gonna put it on the shirt.
Yes.
Then also in his mind, if he from Brooklyn, okay, well, what would be the reaction of someone wearing this shirt in Brooklyn?
Yes,
like what? And so because we come from marketing and branding,
yes,
and I had to do a TEDx about a year and a half later. I had to do a TEDx talk on.
I love it.
Why?
Yes.
And so, not overthinking it, just using logos, brands, how we justify the statement, which then leads to the responsibility once you justify it. But the silhouette of Dr. King and the civil rights movement, all that represents. So Atlanta would be, Dr. King is like a Bob Marley, like just this figure where you ain't even got to see the silhouette.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And people be like, oh yeah, you know.
Yes.
And so civil rights and Dr. King, that would be attributed to Atlanta.
Yes.
And then so the first, call it 3 C's. The first C is like civil rights, civics. The second C, just that even though we got Apple and Nike or whatever, the Coca-Cola symbol, where you could just put any word up. As long as you, I don't even read the language. That look like the Coca-Cola symbol. You know what I'm saying?
The red and white with the wave.
It's just like, so that's from the same place as Dr. King.
Yes, sir.
So what we're calling that is all these Fortune 500s, Home Depot, Delta, the newer companies that have moved here. So corporate commerce would be we are open for business.
Okay.
Third largest chamber in the country.
Yes.
So there's a lot of money flowing in and out.
Yes, it is, sir. Yes, it is, babe.
First C, civic. Second C, corporate commerce. The third C, that Outcast logo. Outcast spelled with a K, but that C going for culture. And so everything, especially now that Billboard is named Outkast, the #1 rap group, what, even though from a brand perspective, I see if you were to travel the world and you say, well, what logo would you see most representing hip hop? I feel Outkast would be like number 4 and number 5 in terms of no word spoken, just logo. Because the number 1 you're going to see is the Wu-Tang. In and out, just, it don't matter, no language speak. You will see a Wu-Tang W like anywhere in the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. On people that don't speak English.
Now in terms of who has done more for the culture as a whole to make it well-rounded, still keep street but be able to experiment and Outkast. And so when we say that Outkast symbol, but that C is for culture, it's for black culture, and meaning the Grady born that tilled the soil, laid the wet concrete, might have built the sandbox, started pouring some sand in, but it's also the black person that came here from where they came from. They bought their music, their food from where they was from, the slang from the neighborhood they was from, to this safe place for expression of blackness. And so when you look at trends and American pop culture is so big, but so much of American pop culture takes their cues from black culture, always has. So if Atlanta would be the epicenter of black culture. So when you mix those three together, the civic, the corporate commerce with the culture,
I love it.
That would be how I could justify the shirt in New York. But I would expect somebody who really know a thing or two to say, okay, I feel you, but I raise you one. To whom much is given, much is expected. Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Come on, brother.
So if we're going to influence everything, we shouldn't. We're number 1 in income inequality as a city between us and Miami sometimes. We have a 4% upward mobility rate. So if you're born poor in Atlanta, 96% chance you're going to die poor. So the shirt and the hashtag, when you start pulling data, which what people like to do when we start talking about black people, because we show out so much, people want to start pulling numbers, want to see how long the dollars stay in the community and whatever. Now the data tell a different story than what, you know, and so there's layers to it. And so we shouldn't, the shirt translates to you cool, but you broke, which is Atlanta is so black that Atlanta city problems closely mirror African American community problems. They're almost one and the same. But because that's what's said about black people is that we spend all our money on this looking good and whatever, but we don't have nothing. Atlanta influence everything, but you number 1 in income inequality. So your people not eating off the influence. So at the end of the day, how does a city, if an influencer as a person is able to get free things, free trips to Jamaica, this and that, I'm an influencer, you know, the influencer rate, what's that? If we saying that instead of a person being an influencer, that a locale, a city, a physical place that holds a lot of people, that their essence is the influence, the essence of the place, then how does a place then leverage the influence to create workforce and economic development? Since we can't charge you for doing the dab, we can't charge you a tax for saying trap, even though that's our thing. Like, y'all, you saying shawty, you saying all these words. We can't tax you for it. And we can't tax you for moving here. You know what I'm saying? But what we can do is figure out how to provide more jobs and opportunity for doubling down on the reason why you moved here. Like owning it and selling it back out. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you.
That's how you would leverage the other than that, you just looking cool. With no way to capitalize on what you are giving the rest of the world. We've given you Dr. King. We told you have a Coke and a smile. We told you have a dream, have a Coke and a smile. We told you the South's got something to say.
You did.
So I'll just end that by saying at this point in 2023, knew it in the digital age. The South's got something to say was said still in the analog age. Digital age, we got something to do. We've showed you what we've been saying. Now we have to do. That's what we're, and it's a collective we as well.
Do you feel, Bame, the movement? You feel enough people are supporting what we need to do in 2023? Are you feeling that? Are you having to be, do grassroots again? Like, man, now it's after COVID, it's more digital. The type of black person that's moving here is a little different than it was 10 years ago. Do you feel you got to go back to the boards and start all over again? Or you feel like you're really getting the support in what we need to do and say in 2023?
I think it's a mixture of both. I think Atlanta, it has strong bones and infrastructure.
Okay.
Built on the backs of some giants and amazing people. I think without trying to talk down and say somebody's young, old, and new, and I want to say, like if we have iPhones, what it's like with the device. If you skip a couple iOS updates, so it's just Atlanta is a beautiful phone. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's just a couple iOS updates behind on how it runs.
Okay.
So what you're feeling right now is that's just how dope we are, that you feel so much energy kind of illuminating from the thing. But if you understand from a policy and infrastructure standpoint that it still is not running on all cylinders.
Right.
Like if it update those 2-3 iOS updates behind, like get on the current trajectory of digital and AI and Web3, and you mix it with your southern soil, hand in the soil ability to fish and touch your neighbor and like the southern sensibilities. It's like if you mix in southern hospitality and sensibilities with AI web through where we at now. This is with black ingenuity. It is Wakanda. It's in real life. We use it in theory because of the amount of people here and the fact that they filmed the movie here. But it is Wakanda in the sense of it's very tribal. And you had in Wakanda, you had the water tribe and the mountain. And just because we all look alike don't mean we all get along.
That is correct.
So, which is okay. Like, we're in the continent, from my understanding, how does a continent get along? Like, no, like this, so that the blacks not arguing with the blacks, that's a fallacy. That's always going to happen. But what you see what happened when the non-blacks infiltrated Wakanda and was trying to pull the vibranium.
Yeah.
The way the tribes banded together, put all
they put their beef aside. It was like, this is what we about.
Yeah,
we about to get them.
And so our ingenuity, our influence is our vibranium.
Yes.
And and as a people, we just have to understand how to maneuver through the world.
Yes.
Holding that
as a people. Yeah. So what's our action item? What do we need to do next then? So
I think World Cup is coming. I'll just make that an action item. So I was in 11th grade when the Olympics came, and it changed people's lives.
Yes.
But there were people who moved here 1 to 2 years before the Olympics. They ain't even had no uncle. Like, they moved here just on a, and they caught a play and changed the trajectory of their family last name in Atlanta because of a play they caught during the Olympics or something. You know what I'm saying? So the World Cup is coming here in 2026, and the world is coming again. And so Airbnb, like whatever your side play is, whatever, just all ingenuity, the world is coming to Atlanta's doorstep in 2026. And there's no gatekeepers. Your play is what you make it. So start looking up what the World Cup is. It just how to tap in. There's a front door. There's a side door.
It's a back door.
Yeah, it's just
everything.
So that's an action item. That gives us a runway.
Yes.
Don't have a lot. It'll be here,
Before you
immediately.
know it, yeah.
But yeah, there's no gatekeeper. So whether you're a Grady baby or whether you flew here, however you got here, there's nobody stopping you from making some sort of play when the world comes here in 26. So that's the action item.
What's up? You got merchandise. You wearing it. Atlanta influences everything. Where can people get the merch? Like, you were at Pond City Market for a while, right?
Yeah, they're doing a lot of building. So the construction is just prohibiting our walk-up traffic. So back online, e-commerce, which is what we started off as. So AIE.life. We're actually, working on. I get to say it because I don't have to say who it's with or whatever, but we're working on the airport, which is what people have been asking us about for a while.
Nice.
But we also learned it's got to be, again, Atlanta's a yes and city, not an either or. So it's like you got to keep the online store, but even if you get the airport store, the average person in Atlanta that need to run and pick up a shirt, they're not going to go pick it up at the airport.
No, we're not.
So it's like we got to have the regulars.
Yeah, you got to have a hub for us.
So the ups and downs of running a business.
It's really
you gotta,
the tourists.
It is.
You get the people that's cutting through and they'll grab that because they'll feel away. It's that time of year and there's a lot of diversity in the city and they feel the energy of this place. It's a good city, man.
Yeah.
It's a really good city. And I have no qualms because it allowed me to be who I am. A lot of discovery happens. I'm sure with your partner from Brooklyn, your business partner from Brooklyn, he discovered himself here and was like, you know what, I'm good.
Yeah, and another one from Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Yeah,
and he's I think he's 48, and he likes to talk about how he came here at 17, 18, right out of high school, and that while I was born here in some form, he was throwing parties at Club Kaya. While I couldn't drink in middle school. So he like, do you really want to do this Atlanta thing with me, bro? I'm in these streets. I'm from Bridgeport, but I'm in these streets. You couldn't come out the house now. You know what I'm saying?
You was doing homework. You know what I'm saying? You was like waiting for somebody to pick you up from school. Now you knew folk, they was, influential, but you was waiting on mommy for somebody to
That's
come
how
get
he chumped me. That's how he chumped me.
Meanwhile, he was like, yo, somebody get table number 2 over there.
That's how he,
he running a tab over there,
Man.
For real. For real.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you because your love for the city is just magnificent. It's big.
It's really my love for us because Atlanta is a longitude latitude location in the state of Georgia.
Yeah.
In America, spelled with 3 Ks.
Yeah.
So it's not ours. So Atlanta, when we say Atlanta influence everything, also those you really read between the lines.
Yeah.
And there's a shirt that says black culture influences everything, but you're not going to spook who sat by the door, the establishment, by that shirt. So overall, Atlanta is what you make it. But when you travel, Atlanta's code word for black. So you ain't got it just is. And so it allows for somebody from New York, people say, well, is this for me? And if it's a white person that says for me, if you love this city, then that shirt is for you. And that influence everything. But when a white person say, well, I wonder if it's for me, I'm like, yo, it's something in you because it say Atlanta. So why you wondering it's for you? You in Atlanta, ain't you?
Right.
But it's an undertone where you feeling this urban. We ain't never say it's urban.
We never said it was.
Now, you can look at the founders and be like, okay, those are 3 black guys. But we never said it's urban. So there are those that see it for the urban. There are those that see it for the role we played with the voting with Joe Biden and Ossoff and Warnock and political. So there are white people that squarely wear the shirt on some political. Hey, whatever.
Be on the graphics. Be
everywhere.
Anything
so
moving.
It, as long as we got it on you and you pushing it, but it's some of that what's known ain't got to be said. So you travel overseas, especially millennial, Gen Y, Gen Z, they feel blackness illuminating. It might not be all the way blackness, but that shirt got something to do with with black.
Yeah.
And I'm a in because I ain't gotta say his name. I'll just let you see this text. So
yeah. I see
it. The new publisher for the AJC.
Got you.
He's from DC and by way of New York.
Mm-hmm. Look at that. I like that.
I told him.
Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna get my shirt too.
So he when he had to explain what it meant, he got to touch on the blackness of it, even though he's not black.
Yes.
So he can make it out to be what he wanted to be.
I appreciate
but he still, when he tell it, he gonna have to tell him the Dr. King and we are the home of hip hop and you know, New York Times did a piece on Lil Baby. You know, so
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Last question, and then I'm gonna let you go because you said Atlanta is code for black. Code for black. Do you feel that Atlanta is changing its color? Do you think it's changing? Or are we still black? Atlanta
proper. That the mayor Andre Dickens is over and you can vote like Amaretta's Atlanta when sorry not sorry. That is becoming, because of the cost of living, it is becoming more multicultural.
Yes.
It used to be aggressively black and white, but it's more multicultural. But you know, Atlanta, which is weird, it's like eventually we'll be New York in like 60 years, meaning borough-wise.
Yeah.
Because the Latonia and the West Side, they different and the same at the same time. Panola Road and Cascade, in a lot of places, the black side is just one side of town.
Yeah.
But those places aren't connected, but they both black.
Yes, they are.
You know what I'm saying? And there's different types of black.
Yeah.
So I think the metro area as a whole, when you start looking at these blacks scattered all about, that's black. But Atlanta proper, which is about 500,000 people now, it was 250 when I was younger, has grown
to 500,000.
That is more multicultural. In the metro area, they're multicultural too, but when you start looking at the sheer amount of African Americans scattered about Douglasville, all these different counties, the number is still Latonia, Stonecrest, all the way. It's almost like not. And then the old Atlanta, Marietta was a black place. I mean, a white place when I was old Atlanta. But now Marietta is what for the north, where Migos from. So it's like, man, the cardinal direction, any direction you go into, you're going to see some of us, you know. And it used to be we were just concentrated
in one area.
In Atlanta, proper.
Yeah.
Now that's becoming more multicultural, but we are more spread out. You know,
awesome.
Yeah.
Good conversation with you today.
Same.
Look at that
Michelle.
beautiful smile.
Same,
Look at
Michelle.
that. This was nice, right?
Yeah.
This was
especially the earlier surprise.
Yeah. So how can the people find you, my brother? How can they find you?
And I walked in on him and said, "Well, hey, my name was on all platforms at Lil John." I'm like, it's all right, mine too, bro. On all platforms at Bem Joiner. You know what I'm saying? Very easy to find. Not running from anybody.
Yeah.
So my name, my personal at BEMJOINER.
Yes.
And my company at Atlanta Influences Everything. And the website is AIE.life. That's AIE.LIFE.
Yes. Beautiful. I wish you nothing but continued success in everything that you do. I'm going to get my shirt. I'm going to go to the website. I said, you know, when I see you I'm going to go ahead and support.
You know what? I did. I thought I was. I sure left.
It's okay. I'm going to go and order.
I brought you some stickers, though.
Yeah, I'll take the stickers. I'll take the stickers. You got magnets? You need to.
We're working on magnets and patches.
I like that. I like magnets. I'll put you on my refrigerator. But I am going to buy a shirt because I believe in what you're doing. I believe in you. And Atlanta influences everything. And I'm glad to be. I hope that I'm part of the fabric in some kind of way.
Come on, yo.
You know what I'm saying?
Especially how we met. Most definitely.
You know what I mean? And again, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to share your story and your love and your passion, you know, for the people that live here in Atlanta, and just keep doing what you're doing, bro. And anything that I can do to support it, you got it.
Thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity, Michelle. And I mean, this ain't. I got in the game. How I even got in like built my resume was because of black women. So I you know,
we here.
black women rocking and
Yeah.
I just appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Which is continued because that's who's been giving me platforms.
You
So,
see what
thank
I'm
you.
saying? Yeah, we love you. We love what you're doing, everything that you're about. You got me for life. We're gonna connect. That's my time. Real Chicks Rock. You know me. I'm everywhere. Listen, today's show is powered by Agape. Go to Instagram. Go to Agape. Get those waist beads. I am a client as well. One day I'll show you my beads. But go out there and get them. We love what she's doing, and she's uplifting the community while she's doing it. Listen, I am on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. Go to realchicksrock.com. Subscribe. Go to the YouTube channel. Hit the bell. Subscribe there so you get the notifications when we upload these shows. Until next time, be well, take care, and continue to rock on. Thank you for checking out Real Chicks Rock Presents Real Discussions. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next show.